Pandemics can come from natural causes, which is largely coming across from other species. A flu, for example, is still a very big risk. And so we'll have to invest in making sure that we catch the disease sooner and that we have platforms to make diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines very quickly.
Obama put the internet kill switch in 5 years ago, and when he got confronted by Congress, he said, well, it's in case the bird flu or SARS gets out. Just type that in. CDC says internet kill switch is in case bird flu or SARS breaks out, and they have to control panic and direct every website in the U.S. to one government announcement. And we looked at every angle and believe a bioweapon release could be the thing they'd release to bring in a world government to counter a global problem. And the UN has said that a global pandemic is the only thing that may save their world government.
It was a groundbreaking ceremony for a new factory.
Did she mention seeing anyone who was sick? Anyone on a plane, the airport?
No, she said she was jet lagged.
The average person touches their face 3 to 5 times every waking minute. In between, we're touching doorknobs, water fountains, and each other.
Beth.
Mom?
No, go up to your room, honey.
So we have a virus with no treatment protocol and no vaccine at this time.
You had a seizure this morning, Beth.
She had a history of seizures,
No.
allergies.
As of last night, there are 32 cases.
Unfortunately, she did die.
Right. So can I go talk to her?
Mr. Amoff, your wife is dead.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
What happened to her? What happened to her?
Is there any way someone could weaponize the bird flu? Is that what we're looking at?
Someone doesn't have to weaponize the bird flu. The birds are doing that.
Watch this. It's transmission, so we just need to know which direction.
On day 1, there were 2 people, and then 4, and then 16. In 3 months, it's 1 billion. That's where we're headed.
They're calling out the National Guard. They're moving the president underground.
People will panic.
Get away!
It will tip over.
The truth is being kept from the world.
Cook your samples, destroy everything.
Hello. I need you to get me the names of everyone who serviced this room. It's an emergency.
You can't panic now.
I know.
I'm gonna get you home.
I got people too, Dr. Cheever. We all do.
Don't talk to anyone. Don't touch anyone. Stay away from other people.
Get back in your car.
We're not sick!
It's figuring us out faster than we're figuring it out.
It's mutated.
Listen to this scary one from Epoch Health. Pasteurization may not kill bird flu in milk, experts say. Agencies say pasteurization kills viruses, but the FDA declined to say if testing related to the current strain has been performed. Listen to this stuff. Milk in circulation in the United States may contain avian influenza or bird flu, according to some experts. There could be viruses in the milk on grocery shelves right now, Gail Hansen, a veterinary expert who was formerly the state public health veterinarian for the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, wrote in a recent op-ed. The highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, or H5N1, recently started sickening cows and one person, and in multiple states cows have gotten sick. Samples and I can even add to that goats and all sorts of other animals are getting sick from it. Samples of unpasteurized milk from sick cattle tested positive for the virus, according to federal authorities. However, they have repeatedly said that no contaminated milk has or will enter the market. Dairies are required to send only milk from healthy animals into processing for human consumption. Milk from impacted animals is being diverted or destroyed so that it does not enter the food supply. In addition, pasteurization has continually proven to inactivate bacteria and viruses like influenza in milk, Pasteurization is required for any milk entering interstate commerce, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said when it announced the first cases among cows. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration offered a similar view. Some other officials have acknowledged that milk from sick cows could enter the food chain, but also said that milk would be safe due to pasteurization. Mrs. Hansen, a doctor of veterinary medicine, and Andrew DeCoriolis, executive director of the group Farm Forward, said that the statements on pasteurization are unsupported, noting that dairy farmers pasteurize in some cases for as short as 15 seconds. Now listen to this. But those standards were designed to kill known bacteria, and it can take much longer to kill viruses. Research into coronaviruses found that it took 3 minutes at temperatures above 160 degrees Fahrenheit to kill the viruses on surfaces. They wrote, pointing to a study published by Reviews in Medical Virology, it's not safe to assume pasteurized milk is safe from H5N1, and again, there is no mention by either the USDA or FDA that they are testing it to find out. While the USDA also said farms are required to divert or destroy milk from sick cows, it appears that the USDA is expecting farms to comply with this voluntarily with no additional inspections or oversight. Ms. Hansen and Mr. DeCoriolis added, dairy farmers have every economic incentive to ignore this advice as long as the milk appears normal. According to reports, farmers only tested milk for the viruses because they noticed the milk looked thick and syrupy. The USDA makes no mention of any plan to screen milk from infected herds to see if milk that looks normal may also carry the virus. There is no mention of USDA requiring infected herds to quarantine. An FDA spokesperson told the Epoch Times that based on the information we currently have, our commercial milk supply is safe because of both the pasteurization process and the milk from sick cows is being diverted or destroyed. The FDA is continuing to work with federal partners to further assess and study the current strain of HPAI virus that has been detected among dairy cows in a limited number of states and will provide updates as more information becomes available, the spokesperson said. The FDA declined to say whether it has done any testing on milk since cows started becoming sick. Rick Bright, PhD, who directed the U.S. Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority for several years, advised President Joe Biden on COVID-19, said that the authorities should make public the results of such testing. Should be simple enough to prove and share data, Mr. Bright wrote on social media after a user noted federal officials have not provided evidence backing their statements on pasteurization and HPAI, which is H5N1, the bird flu. I can't find prior data on influenza inactivation in milk. Hasn't been an issue until now, Mr. Bright added. This would be one of the high priority experiments for USDA to demonstrate, given outbreaks have spanned multiple weeks and they're expecting data soon. Some experts have said pasteurization will kill HPAI. Pasteurization was initially developed to inactivate the bacteria that causes brucellosis and tuberculosis in people and was a serious public health problem many years ago, Jim Watson, state veterinarian with the Mississippi Board of Animal Health, said. The HPAI virus is much more sensitive to heat than other of those two bacteria, but others have acknowledged there is a risk, even if it's not high. If you buy pasteurized milk from a commercial dairy processor, the risk is extremely low, Megan Davis, who has a PhD and is a doctor of veterinary medicine, said. Pasteurization does not sterilize milk, according to Penn State Extension. In addition, it says that there are concerns with standard pasteurization involving large batches because some bacteria may become heat resistant surviving the pasteurization process. The FDA says on a website that it is not practical to target viral pathogens in cooking or pasteurization processes because of their extreme heat resistance. It says pathogens should be controlled through a rigorous sanitation regime. I'm telling you, folks, this is not good information. I'm telling you right now, this is not good information, and people better take all of this extremely seriously.
I've always said that I think the COVID pandemic was a wake-up call. I don't believe it's the great pandemic. I believe the great pandemic is still in the future, and that's going to be a bird flu pandemic for man. It's going to have significant mortality in the 10 to 50% range. It's going to be trouble, and we should get prepared for it. I do believe that the pandemic risk is a greater risk of the national security of the United States than Korea, China, Russia, Iran.
So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
If you have fever and cough or sore throat, stay home.
I'd say 95% chance this was manufactured, came out of a laboratory.
The source of the virus was traced back to drug testing done at Genesis Laboratories in San Francisco.
A lab technician, now known as Patient Zero, was accidentally exposed to retrovirus ALZ-113, an Alzheimer's trial drug that was being tested on chimpanzees.
The infected chimps showed signs of erratic and aggressive behavior that led to their escape from the facility.
The now famous incident on the Golden Gate Bridge, a 6-hour standoff with police, ended with the apes disappearing into Muir Woods.
Emergency rooms are being overwhelmed with patients showing signs of what's being dubbed the simian flu.
The CDC is projecting a fatality toll ranging from 5 million to as many as 150 million in the next 6 to 8 months.
Anyone showing signs of a contagious illness will receive special treatment here, the airport's purpose-built quarantine center.
Many of the new arrivals are children who have lost contact with their parents.
The mandatory quarantines have sparked civil unrest. Families are being ripped apart.
Containment is not very likely.
Prepare your families, know your evacuation route.
The survival rate is now approximately 1 in 500.
Violence erupted in the city center tonight, the third incident in as many days.
Martial law has been declared in 28 nations, including the U.S. and Canada.
The reactor is overheating. We can't stop a meltdown.
Our generator lost its power.
The government
of anything resembling civilian order.
Due to the extremity of the simian flu crisis, all regular government functions have been suspended indefinitely.
Those who aren't killed by the virus will probably die in the fighting. So maybe this is it. This is how it ends. Pretty soon, there won't be anyone left.